I wanted to share some progress on Sourcify, and in particular its dependency chaining. Um, so here I've got something that's, um, I've got an object sourcified, and it's got a layer hat and a layer test, and then A and B. So that's what's displaying here is hat.test, and then this is hat.test.a. Um, hat and test being my foo and bar. Anyways, you can also see that there's this sort of dependency chaining being shown. So this one is dependent on hat and test. If either change, then this will have to update. It's not actually dependent on A or B because it's just showing a static value for what its insides are. Um, there are ways around that, but I was just trying to test something else. Similarly, this other scope right here is dependent on hat and test and A, so it chains all three. I'm really happy with this because there was some issues before with over chaining, because essentially if you take something like hat.test and just keep it around outside of a driver, then later if you go to it and do like const thing equals hat.test and then you do thing.a, it will actually chain all the way up, even though you didn't grab it then. So it's not like, so basically each one of these, like what I was getting, it would be like hat test a, because it would chain all the way up every time. And I got it down to just chaining the one time. Very happy with that. Also, it made it so when I update just a little thing, you can see there's very little, there's the absolute minimum going on, and I'm just very happy with that. If I randomize the object, then it'll chain just as little as it can. Another really cool thing that's happening right now is that, so because, let's see, this one is the DDX2, like these two are related. So this one, like when you randomize the number, just that will be updated because it's relative to DDX2. The whole rest of the thing is DDX1, so all of that gets updated when you change the object. What's really also quite nice, another addition, is that it does not, what it had been doing before is because, in this case DDX4, it was DDX2 before, but the whole thing's been re-rendered 3 times now, which could be avoided very easily with nicer code, but I was deliberately testing an inefficient form. Anyways, this had been running before this would be updated. So like when this whole thing was updated, it would first update these two and then update the whole thing and then do this again essentially. Well, it wouldn't do it a third time, but it was still running 3 drivers instead of 2. And I fixed that as well recently. So like what you would have seen before is 4 being the old one, it would have been like 444005555, as in like the 4th driver scope to be created would have run, then the 0, then the 5th. And it's just I'm just very happy with how little is going on right now. I mean, before there was kind of like, at one point when I first started working on this and making it super efficient, it was just a wall every time. At this point, I think I've gotten it down to the bare minimum. As far as JavaScript goes, it could always be closer to the metal. Anyways, that's my progress update.